Welcome to the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show. I'm your host, Jeff Ross, the caffeinated kangaroo from Down Under, here to help you navigate the wild world of social selling and AI mastery. Whether you're a frustrated affiliate marketer, an inspiring coach, or a seasoned network marketing pro, you're in the right place. And each week we'll be deep diving with key experts from the online business world, sharing their tips and tricks and stories to help you elevate your game. Plus, I'll be serving up some quick coaching episodes packed with actionable insights to keep you ahead of the curve. So grab your favorite cuppa, sit back, and let's hop into another episode. Welcome to the journey of mastering the art of social selling and AI while balancing life as a laptop lifestyle legend. Let's get started and enjoy the show. Well, welcome to the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show, where we're here interviewing amazing experts in the AI and social selling arena. And today I have our awesome Sarah Chevalier. Chevalier. There you go. Thank you very much for the correction. And so I met Sarah at the AI Symposium that we just hosted there a couple of weeks ago, and absolutely loved everything that she had to offer. And I can't wait to, share this with you, with the world. So thank you very much, Sarah, for jumping onto this interview with me.
Thank you for having me. As I said, you're right. It's only a few weeks we met, but I definitely loved your energy and your vibe and your core essence of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I think it was a natural thing that we kind of clicked and connected and have been chatting back and forth. So I'm super grateful to be here and share whatever tidbits I can.
Awesome. Our community here at the Laptop Lifestyle Dads community is very much, they're sort of at the earlier stages of their entrepreneurial journey, so newbie to intermediate, and they're finding their feet. And I always love to, unpack people's story, because at the end of the day, we all start somewhere, we all end at the same place. But, that story in the middle is what's fascinating to me. Sarah, what's your hero's journey story? Where did you start? What's some of the trials and tribulations that you've had to face to get where you are today? And over to you. What's your story?
Oh, wow. That's a jam-packed question there, my friend. Yeah. It's interesting as I've been in the field of self-development, more like super entrenched in it. It's amazing how people share a very similar story to mine. Came from a single mom family. So money became really kind of like my key thing of like, that's survival, that's happiness. Everything good comes from money. And so I chased the corporate ladder. I gave up everything else. I didn't even take a vacation for like 7 years. And it was like new title after new title, taking over teams, directors, human resources department. And I remember I finally took a vacation. My friend got married and I went to the beach and I put my feet in the water. And I think it was the first time I breathed in like 7 years. And it hit me. I was like, oh, wait a second. What the hey-ho am I doing with my life? And I'd love to say that was a great epiphany, but it wasn't. I went back and kept working for another, I don't know how many years, until a moment where it really got worse. Like I didn't laugh anymore. I didn't sing anymore. I was always waiting for that moment down the road. When I have this, then I can. When I have this. And I'll be really, really frank with you. I was very close to thinking, what is the point of living anymore? Like, if this is life, I'm not interested. And that scared the crud out of me. That really scared me. I think even just partially being open to maybe there was a new way, I started noticing. I don't know if things were always there. They say the teacher arrives when the student is ready. They're always there. It's when are we ready to see them? And so I fell into, let's say, Tony Robbins, which I did as full mastery. I really dove all in. And, the caveat of all of that is my mom had her PhD in psychology. I'd majored in psychology. So it's not that I didn't have the knowledge, but that's the difference between knowledge and knowing, right? Brain surface. So anyways, jump forward. I suddenly, at the ripe age of 47, decided I have to do something different with my life. So I quit my corporate job. I sold my big city house, gave back everything, moved to the country, a little tiny town of 4,000 people. And I went into, because I had been in as a manager, you're coaching. I'm always coaching. I love managerial. I loved it because you're coaching people. You're helping them. HR was the same thing. I was coaching people, helping them. So I was like, well, natural progression. I'm going to go into coaching, right? Like, yeah. And I did that for a couple of years, and I loved it. I was somewhat successful in it. And then I hit AI. And all the old parts of me of creativity and art and photography and everything came back to life.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, the road has been long and it's been bumpy, but it's all been bringing me to this. So I think part of it is being open to, like, we get this idea that I'm going to be a coach, and you get so stuck in it. And I was really at a place where it's like, I'm just going where the road leads me and seeing what I enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where I got. So that's a long version of a short version of a much longer story. But that's kind of like when I went through the dark hour, I realized what I'm missing. And I just became open to what else is possible, because that definitely wasn't working for me anymore.
Yeah. And I love it how, when you read Joseph Campbell's book, The Hero's Journey, and how we all have that same framework around there. We start off with a newfound realization, then all of a sudden we end up in our dark forest, and, we've got to slay the demons, and we've got to figure it out. But out of that, we come out of a newfound learning, a newfound experience, and then we want to basically just go and help the world around that sort of thing.
But it makes sense, right? Because when we're in our comfort zone, when we're comfortable, we're not as nudged to take those chances. We're not as pushed. So unfortunately, most of us have to fall to our knees to take that next step. And that's why it's the darkest part, right? Because we've hit rock bottom, and we're like, okay, I can't anymore. When we're like, I'm not happy, but it's okay, I'm comfortable, we tend to stay status quo.
Yeah.
So my thing is, how do we get people to really be aware before they hit that point? But I think it's really part of the journey.
I think it is for some people, right? It definitely was for my story. I look at it as a visual. So, like, you've got a cliff, right? So the cliff is obviously the dark point, and then you obviously, before the cliff, you've got a guardrail, but at the bottom of the cliff, you've got an ambulance. As coaches, our job is to try and help people avoid the cliff, to go over the cliff. Because some people need to, right? And then that's where we've got to be the ambulance, and we've got to basically help them to pick the pieces up, put Humpty Dumpty back together again, and go from that station. So anyhow, there's that whole conversation around leadership and responsible to, not responsible for, right?
Absolutely.
So playing around in this AI space. So, like, this is a podcast interviewing social selling and AI mastery experts. So I suppose we better shift into that gear. So how have you seen AI transform the landscape of social selling over the past few months? And what do you foresee as the next big shift in this space?
I mean, it's quite astounding how its tentacles are moving into everything. It's interesting because, like, you and I are in this field, so we kind of get delusion that everybody is where we have knowledge of AA, whereas a lot of people I talk to, just like at the grocery store, are like, what can you do? So I think there's twofold. And one of the reasons I actually entered it was because I wanted to be a voice to use it for good. So that, that integrity with AI to me is really fundamental. But the truth is, we're going to have both faces out there. Yeah. So one, even if people just become aware of what's happening so that they can be aware of what is coming into their line of sight. Yeah. But it's what I find is, one, accessibility. I mean, most people, even now, if you're entering into this field, a lot of people don't understand how blessed we are. Because in order to do even a fingernail of what we're able to, it would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the past. Yep. And now we have leveled the playing field for everybody. People are like, I'm going to lose my job with AI. I'm like, yes, but you give so many other opportunities where you get to be your own boss now. Now, not everybody wants to. There's going to be lots of big companies that need employees.
Oh, we still need our garbage collectors. We still need our teachers. We still need our doctors. Yeah.
Some big companies will need prompt engineers. They're going to need, Photoshop to clean up images. If you're really getting, like the eye color comes a little funky, you want to fix the eye color. Not everybody wants to do that. And not everybody's going to want it, just having that thing. So one, how it's changed is it really has allowed so many people jump into the entrepreneurship world at a fraction of the cost. I mean, people are like, I don't want to spend money. It's like, it's a business. It's going to cost you money. This is just like, invest in yourself and your business. But we're able to do so much more with so much less. So that is one thing I think is unbelievable what AI has allowed. Where it's going, I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, right now, obviously, imaging has kind of become, it goes so fast. Imaging is almost now kind of like old news, and it's video. And then after video, I mean, we're looking at robotic. I mean, it's just continually. Sometimes we lose some of the beauty when we go too fast.
Yes.
And so there is great, and I love what you do because you teach a lot about how to use processing and behind the scenes, because if you actually stop and think how, let's say, the Chat GPT or Claude or whatever system you're using really can support you in organizing and structuring. I mean, there's so much value if you give yourself time to really learn each step before running to the end. You can lose yourself for hours in it, but there's no area of our life it's not going to touch. That's just fact.
Well, it's the apprenticeship model, isn't it? Like with learning, there's a reason why apprenticeship model works so well, because of the repetition of it, doing it day in, day, and learning from those little sort of micro steps. Learning how to walk essentially is how we master things, and how we mastery. As I say, it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something. And yes, it's going really, really fast, but at the same time, I feel like with the right people at the helm, the right pioneers, we can steer the course here for humanity. And, that's why I feel like we've got us leaders, we've got an obligation to empower and equip people to be able to use this for good, and support them in that space to be able to help, the mum and dads, get access to amazing entrepreneurial tools. I was actually just on another podcast interview just before I hopped on with you, and I was talking to a guy about how we're using it in the church space. He's just created this custom GPT. It's taken pretty much the whole Bible and got all these different questions and Bible discovery questions and all that sort of thing to be able to help people navigate and learn how to read the Bible, through using a GPT. But you talk in some circles, in the Christian circles, they already see the AI as the Antichrist. That's the polar opposite of this conversation here. But obviously, I know myself, when I first jumped into ChatGPT, I had a little taste of it, didn't like it, and I got out there and straight away I put up a video and said, don't go near ChatGPT because it's not going to serve you. It's going to make you sound robotic, yada, yada, yada. But that was from a naive, ignorant standpoint, right? So I had to go in, I had to educate myself, I had to open up my heart, open up my mind, and now look what's possible, to unleash that creative side of it. And it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. It's funny is I'm the same as my girlfriend kept posting images, and I was like, this is terrible. She doesn't look like that. She's going to feel like crap and you can lose. So then I said, because I believe very much, and I shared the AI, inspect what she expects. So I said, let me go see what it's about. When I was in management, it was the same thing. I learned all my processes before I taught, because if someone had a problem, I needed to know how to help them. And it was the polar opposite. I was like, what? I mean, I am a writer, so I love writing. So I will help it. I use it to help me generate ideas or look for things I may miss. Like your Bible example is amazing, because could you imagine prompting that and saying, okay, I want to talk to young, how do I use these stories in conjunction with a metaphor that is or rap music? I mean, who knows, right? Like you could do anything. And using that as a base because we get really stuck. And that's what I found with AI the most is it challenged me. It didn't take away my creativity. I had to get more precise, more specific, more imaginative every step in order for it to generate something that I could use, whether it be an image or a prompt, right? And so, I mean, for me, anyone who's just puts stuff out, like you see people who just put a prompt in and throw it on the thing, you're like, okay, this is still poorly written. I mean, that's not the idea. People are going to use it like that. That's fine. But I love that because you're right. I went too going, this is bad. It's going to kill creativity. Humanity is over. And now I'm like, it's amazing. If you get right. I'm really challenged all the time when I'm trying to create an image. And I'm like, my brain is, I'm like, what? And I see how often I'm stuck in my own parameters. I love it because it forces me to push past, like, how can I make this bigger? How much further can I take this? And just go wild. There are no limits with AI. You can imagine yourself as a mermaid swimming in the stars. That's not how our brains, no, that actually is how our brains work. It's not how our brains are trained.
It's not how we're conformed to work.
Exactly. Yes, that is the polite word.
What it is. But yeah, no, I love it myself. But the big realization to me is like, this is an input-output tool. I'm going to put shit in, I'm going to get shit out. I'm going to put great stuff in, I'm going to get even better stuff out. And it was that light bulb moment that went off for me. It's like, well, I'm the master at it. I'm the tactician. I'm the one that's got the hammer in my hand. And you put a hammer in a builder's hand, you get a house. You put a hammer in a master's hand, and you get a masterpiece, right? So it's the same thing. And
garbage in, garbage out. The IT girl used to say the same thing to me about computer programming back in the day.
Back with the Excel sheets, right? The formulas are put in.
The other thing that I'd love to touch on, because, and I've seen it because a lot of people are like, guys, the devil. And I always say it's kind of like what you just said. It's never the tool. It's how the tool's used.
It's the heart behind it. Yeah,
exactly. And that, to me, this is a great opportunity for us as humanity. And I may take this a little deeper than some of your people, but us as humanity, how are we choosing to use it?
Yep.
Because this is a great opportunity. We can do, and again, we're in marketing and sales, but it's in medical, it's in Alzheimer's. It's like, it has so much amazing potential as a support system to speed up processes for disease, not to create them, but to solve them. I mean, there's so much.
And AI has already been around for decades. It's just become mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just becoming much more mainstream. And because so much big, the programs are learning, and there's so much more being put into it that they're just, it's growing so quickly. How long ago we were all excited about a 3D printer? Now, it's
yeah, no, it's definitely speeding up the technology sort of revolution. That's for sure. So anyway, let's come back to AI itself. So can you share a specific example lately where AI has significantly enhanced your digital marketing and led to a measurable success? And what were the tools that you used to help you to achieve that?
Well, so I do imagery. I do branded imagery for people, companies, small businesses. And what it allows me to do in particular is when someone has a very specific kind of essence. How do I put this? So for marketing of myself, it's by sharing a lot of my images. I believe I personally use a lot of organic marketing and sharing it. And so when I create a tool, and then I'm easily sharing it, but I'm creating tools that I like to call them the jaw droppers or the scroll stoppers, right? So if I create that, then and you and I are very similar with that. I'm trying to create pieces that create that conversation, that have someone go, wait a second, how did you do that? And so that's really what I use. And I use predominantly like the Midjourney, and then Photoshop also now has a great AI system built with it too. So I use a lot of Photoshop has some amazing AI. Yeah, really. Yeah, no, it's quite amazing. And so in conjunction with that, that's how I really am able to put in images out there to marketing that make people stop and say, wait a second, how did you do that? And then we get to start chatting, and I can see if it's something that they're open to for themselves as well. And so I use that. I have yet to use it because I only started in AI in April, end of April. That's when I jumped in. So I'm actually pretty new in the AI field, but it has allowed me to change my direction. I still use my mindset because when I'm working with new coaches that want to launch and people with small businesses, particularly, I call it the second act for women who are kind of like going out of the long career, there's a lot of fear of work and how do you speak it. So I use a lot of mindset. Yeah, there really is. So,
just on that mindset stuff, I'd love to unpack that a bit deeper because I'm finding something very similar myself. Now I'm a coach. I haven't got any formal training. I've gone through the school of hard knocks, and I've learned how to figure things out. And now just teaching people is just a natural gift in that space. Then I'm finding myself like the ideal person that we work with. I love that term, the second act. Basically the best way I can describe it is people who have had a lot of success in their 20s and their 30s, and for whatever reason, life's knocked them off their perch, whether it be a health event, a divorce, COVID, whatever that is. And so they've gone through a little bit like your story, gone through, had, climbed the corporate ladder, had a lot of success in that space, and then come to the realizations like, this is what life's not always cracked out to be. Like I'm always striving, but never actually arriving. And so what you don't want in your life, and then but you need to have some sort of success to be able to have that life by design. So you want to build that life now from that foundation of that heart and that mission purpose, that you're going to have a greater impact into the world. It's no longer about you. It's about how can you serve. And that they're the type of people that I'm finding that I'm really working well with at the moment. And it's like those people who are looking for that second act. I love that story, the way that you frame that. So obviously inside of that conversation, there is a lot of mindset stuff that we've got to work. I find myself having probably about 80% mindset conversations, or heart set, as I like to call them. So how are you using AI in that space to help you?
How am I using AI in my mindset? I don't know. It's
really awesome just to help me to articulate my thoughts and to get a bit more clarity and a bit more concise.
Yeah, and to challenge, like we talked about before, like when I'm using AI, I had to really stop and say, what is possible? And so sometimes it's just questions and digging that next layer and listening, right? Like, because everyone's trying to rush to something still. Because even when I left corporate, it was quite a long transition for me to understand that I was no longer on the 80-hour work week. I could create a life I loved, doing things I loved. And that was going to look very different than running. And so when I'm speaking with, so I say, I call myself kind of like an intuitive way with it, because really when I'm sitting with someone, I'm listening for the underwords, right? Like everyone says what they think is right, but I have to be willing to kind of call you on it sometimes and be like, is that really what you're looking for? And I get to do that with imaging, right? Because they're like, oh, I want to do this, this, and this. And then I go and I look at their website, and I'm like, is that really your style? Is that who you want to show up? I mean, your branding. I love, like, your kangaroo is like epic. It's the perfect example of awesome branding because it's so recognizable. It's a through way you can use on all your material, but it's so important that it really represents who you are. And if you're trying to build yourself up to mimic someone else, you're not going to be comfortable showing up. So we have to kind of really dig deep. I mean, it's hard to sell it that way. It's like, hey, come on, mindset branding. But it's part of the process, because for me to really represent someone, I have to really understand, hear them, and see them for who they are. And that's kind of a transformation, and one that most of them really love. So.
Taking people from that caterpillar to that butterfly stage. So cool. In a space like we're talking about AI content now and imagery and all that. So in a world where we can generate cool looking things like the caffeinated kangaroo, and some of your images, I love what you do. It just stands out, like it just pops. So, I also find in this space too, there are people trying to automate certain aspects of the customer value journey, right? They're trying to automate interactions. So how do you think we can ensure that our marketing strategies maintain that human element, that maintain that human touch to foster genuine connections, right? I truly believe sales happens, or any marketing happens, in that heart-to-heart connection. Is that I see you, you see me, and that H2H element. Now I see a lot of the whole pendulum swing, right? So there are a lot of tools out there at the moment in the AI space, essentially taking that away. Like I can see the potential in it, especially, with the colder sort of lead generation conversations. So like you're making sure that when you do talk to someone, that you're talking to someone who's qualified, that they're interested, all of that stuff. I get it. But at the same time, I know that there's so much power in being able to have the emotional intelligence to go through and ask the right questions, to see what's not being said underneath. And I don't think AI is quite there yet to be able.
It's not, but what's super cool? Like, we look at the bots, right? I have, because I'm relatively new, I haven't done it yet, but I have a program that I've done that is to do really personalized bots. So that will be down the road what I do. But what I love about the person that I invested in was, I think you do bot building too, I'm not sure. But what I loved about his mentality and why I joined his idea, because it was hybrid bots.
Yes.
So like, you are perfect. You could create a caffeinated kangaroo as a sub-employee who's at the other end of that bot, and you don't pretend. Where we
transparent about it.
Yes, have it be something fun. Have it be an experience, so that the person isn't like, oh, they're trying to pretend. Like, who's this? Say, no, hey, yo, dude, I'm the caffeinated kangaroo. Jeff's busy. I'm here to answer what questions I can, or you know what I mean. You make it an experience. People will play with it like that. They'll be okay. It's trying to show up and be like, hey, like, people read through it. I remember I sometimes have fun when I answer them and saying, hey, bot, because I know, but they're pretending to be the person.
Yeah.
That to me is wrong. But
It's
if you can actually make it an experience, I could see people jumping on to actually talk to your caffeinated kangaroo. It's like, hey, I'm talking to the caffeine, like, you know what I mean?
You're investing on it.
Like a character, or to be, hey, I've actually been playing around with it, influenced by. I'm looking for my own little, like, they came up with a really goofy, because I'm Lemonade, the mixologist. And again, you like a stand mixer from the 70s, because I do a 50s vibe. I was like, I'm going to have a stand mixer be my character. I'm bored of that. So I've been playing around with it because I'm like, it's so distinguished, George, and it's really important in branding. It could be a sunflower. Like for me, I put lemons in almost what I do that's branded because it ties back. It's a through. But if we can do it so that it's an experience for the person at the other end, that they're very aware that it's an AI experience, don't lie about it.
Yep.
But make it something different and fun. Don't be so like, you know what I mean? Then I think it's really cool. You can have it because it is weeding out those couple things. Like, is this really someone you can help? Because you don't want to waste their time and you don't necessarily have all that extra time to give to. So certain weedings and really good bots, you're programming it the whole way through. You're saying if they say yes, then here's some great tips I can give it. And I can feed it with awesome tips that are like, people like, we talk about coaching, but you can get some pretty epic feedback from, if you prompt well, garbage in, garbage out. But if you actually give it some good parameters, it's amazing some of the advice and skill sets that it gives back. And so if we can offer our clients that as a support, like you, again, like you talked about the hours you have to work because of where you're located in Australia, working with a lot of North Americans, how great that people could still connect with you during hours where you're sleeping, but getting really valuable information back, as long as you're not lying about it. Don't lie. That's just the rule of life. Nobody has to teach us that.
Yeah, now my mate and David Miller and I are building out a custom GPT at the moment to say, essentially it's taking my brain, turning that into a GPT, so I can ask questions there at that surface level to get get those.
Dude, I want to talk to your caffeinated kangaroo.
I'm actually in the process of using AI video to bring him to life so he could actually start talking.
Cool. Yeah. You can do that. Absolutely. I've done that with a couple of really cool artistic images and then done my own voiceover on it. It's amazing. It's fun.
Yeah. It's pretty cool what this space is. And once again, it's unleashing that creative side of it. For me, I would say it's unleashed it, it's enhanced it, and it's just turned it right up. It's funny, like I wrote a book. I just launched it last weekend. And I basically, so what I did was I got my bootcamp videos that I've done over the last 10 months, teaching people how to leverage AI, got them transcribed, uploaded that to ChatGPT, and with a few clever prompts, I wrote a book, and I wrote a book in 4 hours. And so I put up that post, I wrote a book in form, I used ChatGPT.
I saw some people talking back on it. I followed that.
Funny, like, you just see the people who got something to lose out of it. They're being challenged by the status quo, really. And it just feels fascinating just watching that pushback, some of the authors, and I get it, these guys have got 20, 30, 40 years as published authors, as reporters and all of that sort of thing. And little old me, high school dropout, he's coming and saying, I wrote a book in 4 hours. Well, look, the feedback I've gotten from the book out of the last 20 people that have read it has been phenomenal. So yeah,
so that you didn't actually write it in 4 hours because your boot camp was how many hours? I know you put the whole note thing together, framed it, fed it back. Those hours count. You're like Picasso.
I transcribed, but the process.
Did you hear the story of Picasso where he's sitting in a coffee shop and he doodles on a napkin? And a woman walks up to him and he looks like he's about to throw it away. And she's like, can I buy that from you? And he's like, yes. I don't know. He says like $5 million or $1 million. And she's like, but it took you 5 minutes. He goes, no, it took me like 40 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so all that time you did, that's brain knowledge, that's life experience. So, I mean, again, I know you put it because it is once you feed it in. Like, I'm actually using AI right now to do a keynote speech. Excuse me. And I'm having it kind of, because it's all in here right now, I have it asking me question by question, not writing it, just helping me get the junk out of my head in an organized format. So that at the end, we can start to put it together, right? Like, that's a great way to use AI as a way to brain dump, right? I love AI for brainstorming. Just shooting the SHIT. with it and saying like, okay, help me. And I like having fun with it too, because it'll spit back stuff. And I'm like, that is super cheesy. Like, I would never do that. What are you talking about?
They're just going to give
Never
you, I correct it. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But anyways, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm saying
No, that's cool.
your value, Jeff, it's not 4 hours.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
I take that on. So, but yeah. So, but what I'm saying is though, for me, the whole space about here is it's leveraging it. Yes, I would say $20 a month for ChatGPT is probably valued at least $20,000. I used to say a year. I would even go far as saying probably a month now. With the writing skills and everything else that's helped me step up as that professional branding and all that. Like I would have had to pay someone $1,000 to do a logo like that in the past, and I was able to use AI and do that in 30 seconds. So like it's definitely, unlocked those tools to be able to help, just about anybody get up and running. The big key theme now, this whole conversation, Sarah, is it's that authentic transparency about it as well. Like they're just tools, we're still the experts. We're still the masters, tacticians and all that sort of thing that are leveraging these tools. And all those tools are doing is just enhancing the experience, making us more productive, making us more efficient. But it's just bringing out our hearts and showing our hearts to the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that will weed itself out naturally, because those who are using it without even rereading what they prompt and just post.
Yeah.
People feel that.
Yeah, so that's what we've got to lead with, that transparency as well. Even if you're just starting out, if you're listening to this episode now and you're just getting into it, like my wife, she says she's technology inept. Like if you're just starting out, like own that. Like, you never get that newbie effect ever again, but own it, be vulnerable, be raw, and just be transparent. Like it's a beautiful place to be in and get creative.
Absolutely. And I think for any new coach, anybody new entering it, that to me is the saddest thing. We've lost so many good ones because they give up too early. And it takes the time it takes. And we forget that. I think of a plant, like I love plants. And I've never looked at a plant and been like, oh, I wish you were bigger. Damn, you should just be bigger. I bought you 2 days ago, right? Like it takes nurturing. And that's why I said we know things. But there's a difference between knowledge and knowing, and there's beauty in the hiccups. I call them hiccups or divots. You ever been to you must know, when they're playing in the divot and they hit, step in a hole. Right. They try once in a while. But honestly, some of the best lessons come through that. And some of the most beauty is that people give up because they're seeing these huge people. That's why I like someone like you, because you're real. You're a human having a human experience, living life, doing things, showing every stage along the way. You're not like, I'm a multimillionaire. Like anyone who says you're going to make $50,000 in 2 days, like run the other way. First of all, I don't honestly, there might be like a Grant Cardone who can do it in 6 days, but he's also got the experience of 18,000 million years behind him, right? Like nobody starts at the top. Nobody.
No.
Nobody.
We all start on step one. And the other thing too is we all finish in the same place too. So,
we do. Yes, we do. Very much so.
Anyhow, look, I'm sure we could talk for hours on this topic. It's probably time to maybe wrap this episode up. And it's been an absolute pleasure communicating with you on this, and I absolutely love it. I live it. I breathe it. I know you do too. And I look forward to maybe coming back for another episode. But for our listeners who are listening here, I'll make sure we put in the show notes, how could they reach out and connect with you, and what's the best place for them to do?
The best place right now is honestly my Facebook. That's kind of my jam. One, because it is more, you have a lot more connection. Like I love the talking. I don't just do pictures for likes. It's not what I'm about. And I'm building a really epic website right now. I just have a portfolio, but it's all linked through my Facebook and my email and everything. So really just, Sarah Chevalier at Facebook. You'll probably see me. I have lemons in my hair and stuff like that in my imaging. But right now otherwise it's just info@Sarah Chevalier. Is my direct email, but people have trouble with the name Chevalier anyway. So, but Facebook that's why I hang out, man. Other than being on AI, I'm there all the time. So I really have enjoyed it. And as I said, honestly, I love what you do. I love watching what you do. I love the heart you lead your people with. I love that you're so raw. There's so much I just really appreciate and respect about you. And I know your boot camp is coming up. Yes. By the time this post, maybe it'll already be done. I'm not sure. But anyways, I'm an admirer and follower of yours, and appreciate everything about you and what you offer your people.
I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. The boot camp we host once every sort of 6 to 8 weeks. So if you're listening now and you're looking for that boot camp, it's a 5-day social selling AI mastery boot camp where we basically get down to basics. Day one, we walk through the why, why we need to be leveraging attraction marketing and why AI and all that sort of thing. So, Simon Sinek's us, start with why. So basically been my marketing Bible for the last 10 years. Starting with the why. Then day two, we then unpack basically how to use AI to nail your niche and master your message. Now, this is just it's an initial masterclass, so it's a surface level, but I'll give you fill in the blank prompts to start this conversation, to go through, nailing your niche. And then day three, we start to have a bit of a creative play. We do cool looking things. I give you my logo prompts and my content calendar prompts and our attraction marketing prompts, so you can create content that speaks directly to your audience's heart, so that your audience can relate and resonate with you and connect with you and have that heart-to-heart connection through your content. And then we talk about the customer value journey on day, which essentially is our proven, predictable social selling system, and how we take people from awareness to engagement to, building a community. Essentially, everything that we do here at the Laptop Lifestyle Dads is we teach you how to build a personal brand. We teach you how to grow an amazing niche community that you can serve, and you can be the guide in that process. And then we teach you how to monetize it. And then on day 5, we wrap this all up and we come in home and we teach you how to start automating some of the journey. Because it is the laptop lifestyle, right? We don't want to be tied to our phones or our computers 24/7. We do want to, experience life and, making sure that we've got time for the kids and we've got time for the travel and the beaches and all of that. So there are certain tools out there that, I've gone through and experimented a lot with. And the tools that I personally recommend are the tools that I personally use myself to help automate some of this journey and streamline it. So that's the 5-day boot camp. Come along. It's absolutely free for those who show up live. If you can't show up live, all cool. We've got you covered. We've got a replay pass just for $27, or you can grab our VIP Masterclass pass, which you're going to get a few extra bonus there. Be treated like a VIP, of course, and that's just $97. We host these at least once every 2 months, and looking forward to seeing you on one of our many boot camps. Anyhow, Sarah, thank you very much for the opportunity to dive in and just unpack your world. I love your story, and I look forward to coming back to a round 2. Once you're into this space down 6 months down the road, and see what your experience with AI has been. Gone through it. And
absolutely, absolutely, because I'm using it now partially as my website and as content creation, because you can do access. I mean, I love it. So yes,
I'm back. The last 10 months, well, it didn't take me 10 months, but it took me like 10 weeks, if not even that. I built a course, I built the funnels, I built all the email marketing, the brand, now we're in the space where we've just launched a book, we're launching a podcast. It's, and that's all thanks to AI. It really is, and how it's supported me in that space. So I can't wait to see your journey and how that unfolds. Anyhow, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jeff.
Now for some exciting news. Don't forget to grab our brand new book that just launched the other week, Social Selling and AI Mastery for Network Marketers. It's packed with actionable insights and success stories to help elevate your game. And also, whilst you're here, don't forget to mark your calendars for our upcoming 5-day Social Selling and AI Mastery Bootcamp starting July 23rd. This bootcamp's designed to transform your approach to online business with cutting-edge strategies and practical tips. Whether you're just starting out or looking to up your game, this bootcamp is for you. Why join? It's simple. We're here to equip and empower you to achieve true freedom and success in your business. Learn how to balance the chaos of the mum-dad life while mastering social selling and AI. So hit that subscribe button. Don't miss any future episodes. If you loved what you heard, leave us a review and share it with your fellow legends. Let's grow this community together. Stay caffeinated, stay inspired, and keep making memories. Cheers, legends, and we'll see you on the next episode.